Let's go! Week 4 running back tiers list. SleezBall here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is going to be my 1 through 20 tiers of running backs with the Ballerz at the top, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then I'm going to go outside the box and try and find you 5 deep sleepers, which is why these running backs are on the left over here. And as always, guys, if you like the content, like and subscribe. Help your boy out. Helps a ton. If you have any questions, comments, anything, drop them in the box below, and I'll try and get to them all as fast as I can. And let's start balling, baby. So what I'm going to do from here is, these are Fantasy Pros ECR expert rankings right here from Christian McCaffrey to James Cook. That is 1 through 10. 11 through 20 is Joe Mixon to Ramondre Stevenson. Now, I don't think they mixed in the injuries of, say, Saquon Barkley over here, or even David Montgomery, who is also playing over here. Looks like he got a limited practice today, and he will play Thursday. So will Aaron Jones, but they caught that. So I'm going to dive into my own rankings using the top 20 that they have and mix and match my own thoughts with it. At number 1 is going to be CMC, flat out the best player in football when he's on the field. It's ridiculous. Everyone should have taken him number 1. I don't know why. Me, myself included, I took Jamar Chase over him at number 2. It was very costly, even though Jamar Chase bounced back last time a little bit. But 353 yards rushing, 70 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. This guy is just an automatic machine every single time he's on the field. The game script could even get out of hand here, but I don't think it really matters. Christian McCaffrey will still produce you 20-plus points a game every time. I mean, he looks like LT LaDainian Tomlinson every time he's on the field. Number 2. So they have Tony Pollard. I am going to mix it up right here. Kenneth the K9 Walker is out of his mind lately. This guy has 50 points in the past 2 games, 20 touches a game, getting receiving work. I know they're mixing in Charbonnet a little more here coming to week 3. Like, his snap share has gone up 30, 40 to 50%. But they are running a 2-headed beast here. They are trying to pound the run game this whole time. It is shockingly great value for Kenneth Walker. I had him at like RB9, but man, he's starting to make that like top 5 status jump. They get the Giants on Monday night. Should just be the Kenneth Walker show all the way. Another 20-point smash game for him. I mean, you can't. There's nothing you can go against it with this guy right now. Number 3. I am going to go Tony Pollard. He's making me a little nervous lately, though. He hasn't really had that Tony Pollard big explosion game. I will give him a break on, the first 2 games were blowouts. He kind of saw less touches, but even in the Cardinals game in week 3, they were sprinkling in Dowdle a lot more than you thought you would see. So I don't know if they're trying to like hold him for the playoffs at this point or whatever it is. But they're pushing Tony Pollard back more than the Niners are CMC, and the Niners are 3-0, Cowboys now 2-1, and this is like the NFC, Eagles, Niners, Cowboys. That's it. So I mean, they got to keep up with each other. They want that bye, so I expect the Cowboys to start feeding this guy the ball more. Man, he just needs to see the field more, and he'll explode. But for some reason, he's getting less and less work. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna put him at 3 just because, God, he's so electric. He's got to get the ball in his hands. Number 4, Bijan Robinson. Had a very, very, very tough game 3 right here. So I think he had 3.1 points. Not what you are looking for at all for Bijan Robinson. But now he gets Jacksonville. And Jacksonville just got crushed by Dameon Pierce, who had nothing going for the first 2 games. And honestly, Jacksonville is reeling. I mean, if Jacksonville doesn't win this game, it's going to get real ugly in Duval County. But I expect Bijan to see the rock and get this is like a 15, 20-point smash game. Jacksonville's run D is not ranked good. This should be like a 4-star, 5-star play right here for Bijan. Baller status. He's on the baller list. I need him to show up. Number 5. They didn't account for Saquon being healthy, I don't think. This guy, Saquon Barkley, when he is on the field and healthy, he is automatic ballerless. He is the best 3-down back to me. Run blocking, pass receiving, running in the holes, outside, whatever it is, screens. He's a do-it-all back. They're going to need him. If you've seen the Giants' offense without him, they look absolutely atrocious. This guy backpacks the whole team. I mean, Danny Dimes looked very, very bad so far this season. That 160 million is looking real sketch. So that's going to round out my Ballerz tier: CMC, K9, Pollard, Bijan, and Barkley. Heading down to tier 1 at number 6. It is going to be the guy that I thought was going to explode last week versus the Texans. Still did all right with 80 yards and a touchdown, Travis Etienne. But man, I mean, this is another smash play for him, and the Jags are like really, really making me nervous this year right now. Atlanta's run D hasn't been that great, this year. They're middle of the pack. This should be Etienne, another 100 game touchdown smash. The problem is that inside the red zone carries, inside the 5-yard line, has been 0 carries for Travis Etienne and 2 or 3 for Tank. I don't know which one. I'm pretty sure it's 2, but 2 or 3 for Tank Bigsby. So the goal line work isn't going to Etienne, which hurts him, but his electric playability should still put him in the top 10. That's why I have him at number 6 right now. Number 7, man, this one's getting scary as well. Josh Jacobs. Now, this is like my favorite buy low right now running back. And I know that if you look at 2022, right, he had 3 games just like this year, started out very sluggish, very slow, and he popped off from week 4 to the end, and he was the league winner and led the NFL in rushing. So I'm not too worried yet, but if he doesn't smash here against this Chargers defense, this is a dream play right here. Like, I thought about putting him in the top 5, but he hasn't shown enough for me to do that. But this game should be like, this is a DFS play. This is everything. This is a Josh Jacobs game written all over it. The Chargers run D is absolutely atrocious. Their whole defense is atrocious. This should be a smash Josh Jacobs game. Number 8, the leading running back through 3 weeks is Raheem, 31-year-old Mostert. Mind-blowing to me as it is, this offense with Tua and Tyreek, and they didn't even have Waddle last week, dropped 70 points. Devon Achane came in behind him and scored 4 touchdowns after Raheem Mostert. Oh, I guess Achane scored first, but they both scored 4 touchdowns, 8 a pop. This offense is clicking on all cylinders. He is a high injury risk player. I've said this in so many videos, but man, if he stays healthy and keeps going, the sky seems to be the limit for him with 41 points last week. So I'm going to put him at number 8. They play Buffalo. Should be a shootout game. Every game should be a shootout game, trying to keep up with this Dolphins offense. So I am very, very high on Raheem Mostert this week. Sticking with that same game mentality, James Cook, still averaging 15 points a game in fantasy without finding the end zone yet. He's going to find the end zone here, folks. This is going to be the game that he does. I'm calling it now. And like I said, this is going to be a shootout game. You got to keep up with the Dolphins offense. His pass catching has been through the roof. He's actually just been great value in the draft, just hasn't scored. I mean, it's like all the tight ends or something is what it seems like with James Cook. He has not found the end zone. He's going to this week. I'm calling it now. I like James Cook a ton this week. Now, coming in at number 10, I'm going off the board here. I'm going with, close that out. I'm going to go with a double stack here. So I got to make it a little smaller. I'm going to go with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs together here. So David Montgomery coming back into limited practice this week. Looks like he's going to play, or that's the talk right now. The Packers run D is bottom of the barrel right now, which is kind of crazy. Their front is nice, but their run D is not producing the numbers that they should be. I know that they've been missing Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. That might keep their offense off the field a little bit, and they're supposed to be back on Thursday. But I expect this to be a ground pound run game from the Lions all the way, especially with the Packers having Jair on Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm going to put them both at 10. I'm going to say that Monty sees a little less work coming out the hamstring than he did week 1. Probably like a 13, 15 touch foot. But either one could find the end zone this game, so I'm going to put them both at number 10. Heading down to tier 2, this guy looks like a massive steal right now. DeAndre Swift, I'm not going to lie, I was out on after watching week 1 and Kenneth Gainwell. And this guy has literally dropped 185 and 136 back to back. But I mean, I look at it as, is DeAndre Swift really this good, or are these holes just wide open? Like if you watched the game last week, or I mean, last 2 days ago, DeAndre Swift is running straight ahead. The O line is so good. It's just poof, and he just blows right through for 8 yards, 10 yards, 8 yards, 20 yards. I mean, it is a great situation for him that puts him at number 11 for me. And until it stops, he's just going to keep going up and up and up. I mean, it's amazing to me. I did not call it. I'm going to put DeAndre Swift at number 11. Number 12, not even going with Derrick Henry. I don't know how this guy, Kyren Williams, plays 100% of the snaps last week and gets 7 points, or last night against the Bengals. Now, the week before that, he had 94% snap share. I mean, his value is absolutely through the roof. It just needs to find the end zone and produce. I know he came 1 yard short last night at the goal line, but the reason I'm dropping him down to 12 is the Colts run D is actually good, and the Rams O-line just got beat up last night really bad. So it's going to be a little more, I guess, downplayed for me because the injuries that they have right now. So I'm going to leave Kyren at 12. Number 13, we're jumping up. A.J. Dillon has looked so bad. Aaron Jones is back. He said he's playing Thursday. They're going up against Detroit. Should be a higher scoring game than normal and should see a ton of passing work, especially what he does with the ball in open space is insane. And then he pulled his hammy week 1 after that crazy. I think he had like 28 points before he pulled his hammy in the 4th or whatever. Aaron Jones is going to blow up this game. This is a must start. I could have put him at, I should have put him at like 9 or 10, maybe up there, but coming off injury, I'm going to temper it back a little bit and put him at 13. Number 14, Zach Moss, folks. This is going to be his last dance. Well, depending on whatever happens with Jonathan Taylor. But Zach Moss has just absolutely been balling. The Colts O-line is good. He even got 130 yards, 22 touches with Gardner Minshew versus the Ravens. I had him on a sit-em. I mean, he absolutely outproduced what I thought. I honestly did not think their O-line was this good. They really are this good. And now they get the Rams. I know that Joe Mixon kind of struggled on Monday night with, let's say, what was it, like 17 carries for 56 yards, but he found the end zone. But again, I do think that the Rams were just pressing Joe Burrow because of the Cavs, so there was more in the box than normal, and they were short passing the whole thing, trying to get to him quick. So that's why I kind of look at that as like a, outrageous stat that Mixon had because he was just facing mad in the box. I don't think that'll be the question here. I think Anthony Richardson will be back. Michael Pittman will be able to open it up, and Zach Moss should have a decent game. That's why I have him at number 14. Number 15, I mean, it's got to be time for the Titans to look to trade this guy. Derrick Henry, father time, almost knocking at the door, it seems like. He's still got a little bit left in the tank, but he didn't even touch the ball last week, man. I'm like, why do you have this guy if you're not going to give him the rock? So they get the Bengals. And this is like that last game for the Titans right here. I mean, if they fall right here, I think it's wraps for the Titans. Well, I think it's wraps for the Titans anyways. They're not going to be competitive on the season either way. But Tyjae Spears out-snapped Derrick Henry last week in snap share. 56-44. Like, what is going on? Why are they not using Derrick Henry? I do not know. I'm going to put him at 15, and he might even be falling even further next week. I like the matchup versus the Bengals, but, man, it's getting rough in Tennessee for the superstar Derrick Henry. Heading down to tier 3 at running back 16. The guy I had on the bounce back last weekend, it hit Alexander Madison. I don't know how much Cam Akers is going to play. I know they signed him last week and he wasn't in there. So we don't know if we're going to see like a 60-40 split or like a 70-30 or, is Cam going to take the job? We don't know yet. But as of last week, the volume that Alexander Madison got was through the roof. I know it was versus the Chargers. That's a given. That is literally why I'm saying this is a Josh Jacobs smash game versus the Chargers. He gets the Carolina Panthers, and it looks like Bryce Young isn't going to play again so far, according to the updates. We don't officially know, but Reich said he looks like he's not going to make it so far, but it's early in the week. But I mean, the Carolina has just been shredded all around. Their defense is terrible. I mean, Kenneth Walker just blew them up. So I mean, this should be a smash Madison play here. But again, I'm tempering him down to 16 because I don't know how the Cam Akers look is going to look at in Minnesota, or what, the volume is going to be split between them, or how it's going to work out yet. So Alexander Madison has that 16 for me. At 17, Joe Mixon. I only have Mixon this low because the Tennessee run D is absolutely lights out. So they have held the Saints to 37 yards. They held Jerome Ford to 18 yards last week, even though he scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, this defense just locks up everyone. So I could see the Bengals getting ahead and try to run it, but how often is Joe Mixon going to break one here against this nasty front line? That is what's tough to me. God, I can't shake this cough. So Joe Mixon, I have at 17. I mean, I could see him getting 20 plus, maybe even 20 plus touches, but like 50, 60 yards, unless he finds the end zone. It's going to be a rough day against that Titans front. They are actually nasty. Breaking it up. Number 18. My sleeper call since July. Devon A. Kane came in, scored, like I said, scored on the first drive against Denver last week. It wasn't Raheem Mostert that scored first. Raheem Mostert did get more work. This guy had 203 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 76-yard touchdown catch. He looks so explosive. It is absolutely insane. If you're not using your waiver wire on this guy, you should use 40 to 50% fab, especially with Raheem Mostert's injury history. They're playing against the Bills. This should be a massive, massive shootout game. And give me A-Kane for 15 plus. At number 19, I am going to roll out. So I'm going to stay away. I think it's his time, folks. If you've watched anything with Javonte Williams since the beginning of the season. So game 1 was more P. Ryan. He's coming off his ACL. He's getting back to health. Game 2, so P. Ryan was like 65. I think it was like 63-37 game 1. Game 2 was like 48-52 P. Ryan. Game 3, 55-45 Javonte. He started to take the job. He started to take over. Now they get the Chicago Bears. This should be the Javonte Williams must-start game right here. But I can't put him in. I like him a ton this week. I just can't put him any higher because it's still close in snap share. So I don't know if he's going to fully take, the job or whatever. He hasn't even broke 10 points yet, so that's also tough. But I love this spot for him. I love the start for him here. I honestly should put him higher, but I'm going to leave him at 19 for now. At number 20, staying away from Ramondre and all of them. Miles Sanders. So if you watched Miles Sanders last week, I was kind of falling down on him thinking, Miles Sanders is going to lose the job to Chuba Hubbard. The Panthers are falling apart. Yeah, they're still losing games. But Miles Sanders also saw 9 receptions last game. That was crazy to me. I've never seen Miles Sanders get 9 receptions in his career. And now they get the Minnesota Vikings, who are the worst defense besides maybe like the Chargers, or are they second worst versus the run or first worst versus the run? This should be a Miles Sanders, especially with Andy Dalton. This should be a Miles Sanders smash play game. Another one I could have put higher, but I'm going to temper it back. Just the Panthers. It's just hard. The Panthers are just rough. They're rough to watch, but Miles Sanders did look good last week, and I was wrong about that. I had Miles Sanders on sit-em, and he looked actually very good. Now, staying away from, so these guys, right, obviously are in their top 20. So that's would be, people that you would probably start over them. I don't like James Conner versus the Niners at all. I've been on do not draft Breece Hall all year, even before the Aaron Rodgers injury, and he doesn't even get any work. Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce had a rough first 2 games, like absolutely terrible. Like 5 points, was starting to lose, snap shares. Hadn't played 50% of snap shares in week 1 or 2. Came back week 3, found his rhythm, found the end zone, gets the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, and CJ Stroud and these Texans are no joke, man. This is not like an old Texas team you can run over and let's play every player versus their defense. No, their defense is actually good now. And Dameon Pierce and this offense is starting to find a rhythm. This is a huge buy now running back for me. So him and Josh Jacobs, to recap, would be my, top two buy nows because they haven't had that huge pop off game. So like you can't buy DeAndre Swift. You know what I mean? You can't buy Kyron Williams really because the workload, stuff like that. Devon Akane just dropped 50. You can't buy him. So, these are my Josh Jacobs and Dameon Pierce are my two buy nows. I love the problem is his schedule is really brutal, but he's starting to take, they're starting to click together. I like Dameon Pierce at 21 this week. 22, 97% snap share, 20 plus touches versus the Eagles. I know the Eagles defense is really good and he really struggled, but Rachaad White is becoming that dude. I mean, it's just at the Saints this week. The Saints run D is good, but without Carr, I mean, Jameis Winston, I think the Bucs could take this game. They could steal it, but he needs to see more passing work from me. He's known for his pass work, and Baker missed him a bunch of times, like threw a pick right across the middle when he was wide open. The miscommunication was there. They're not fully clicking yet. It will get better. Rachaad White, I have at 22 this week. 23, we're going to take the gamble. I mean, this guy should be on your trade block if not, but this is another great situation for Najee here. But I did tell you that Houston's defense is getting better. But this, last week I was like, if he doesn't get 10 points, I'm taking him out the top 20. I took him out the top 20. I have him at 23 now. And honestly, Jaylen Warren looks better than Najee Harris. It's just official. If you don't see it with the eye test, and I don't know what you're watching, but Najee Harris does have a good matchup versus Houston. I'm going to put him at 23. He hasn't even cracked 10 points, but God, he's got to be due, right? Like, this is the time I'm going to say that he's due. At 24, huge miss, but I have to break this down in different ways. I said bench Jerome Ford versus the Titans. He's going to get stuffed in the run. He got stuffed in the run. He had 11 carries for 18 yards. That's like a 1.12 average. It's horrible. But he found the end zone twice. He got a punch in for 1 yard, and then he got a reception, swung out to the left, wide open where the defense missed him. But the scary part is this is a sell now running back. So Jerome Ford was the waiver wire pickup. Everyone blew their fab on. Waiver wire number one. Use everything on him. He was the fourth running back to touch the ball in that game. He wasn't even the first guy out there. So, yeah, he got the most carries, but it is not going to be a Jerome Ford 20 touch running back status. That's not how it's going to work. If you have him right now, you just got the 2 touchdown game. I would try and package him with something else to pick up any value I could, because I'm not buying that Jerome Ford's going to be the guy. Heading down to 25 here. I'm going to take the shot. They're going to bounce back in the run game. Tyler Algier. The Falcons looked bad last week, and again, they weren't ahead. So the Falcons, when they're behind, can't use their ground and pound run game. They did it last year, but look where I got them. I got them nowhere. They're actually 2-1 now, so they're trying to win. They're trying to flip the scheme from what they did last year. Bijan Robinson and Algier got absolutely locked up last week. I do feel like Jacksonville is an exploitable run D. The question is, are you going to get the Jags that are actually good, or are you going to get the Jags that are actually bad? And right now, the Jags are bad. So I could see Tyler Algier and Bijan having big games right here, 15 touches apiece, 80 yards, maybe a touchdown each. Just depends on what you see and what you don't see from them. And I'm going to leave them at 25. So again, Brian Robinson, Pacheco, and Ramondre Stevenson, I do like more than these guys at the bottom. I was just trying to break out a different 5 for you than following, the top 20 rankings. AJ Dillon, you could just ghost this guy. James Conner now, I could have thrown him on there too, and he balled out against the Cowboys, and I didn't call that. Didn't really ball out, but he got a touchdown and 60, 70 yards, whatever. But his workload is through the roof. He's probably, you can't bench him if you own him because he's played so good, but the 49ers, man, they're not the Cowboys, bro. This run D is something else. I'm really on a sit him with Connor this week. And Breece Hall, where's my ghost for Breece Hall? Bye-bye. Brees Hall. If you own Brees Hall or you own Garrett Wilson and you've seen Zach Wilson, it's time to sell, man. It is over unless they make a move or make a trade or something, or they're just throwing the season away because it looks so bad in Jets land. It's terrible. So that's it for rounding out my top 25 or top 20 running back tiers. And then the sleepers at the bottom are 5, flex plays you could throw in. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the content, like and subscribe. Help your boy out. Helps a ton. And if you have any questions, fire them in there, and I will try and answer them all as fast as I can. My next video will be wide receiver, tight end, and defense kicker tiers. And that's it for me, guys. I'm out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.